What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today, whether you're grinding ranked, leading a squad, or just trying to stop getting flamed, by your peers in voice chat. Today in this video, we're gonna be leveling up your mindset and your gameplay by breaking down the 5 essential skills every serious player needs, which are understanding your role on the team, outthinking your opponent, leading your team, and also using your voice effectively to be able to bounce back after a rough game. Let's lock in. First, understanding your role. Every team is a machine, and you're a key part of it. Whether you're entry fragging, anchoring, or playing support, your role isn't just about what operator you pick. It's about what your team needs from you in that moment. Some of the things you want to ask yourself are: Am I creating space or am I holding it? Am I enabling my teammates or trying to solo carry? Knowing your win condition, if you're a support, your job isn't to top frag. It's to keep the team alive and set up for the win. Uh, some side notes would be watch your own replays and sometimes ask yourself, did I play my role or did I just play for myself? And that right there is how you grow as a player. Um, some of the notes that I want to add would be to consider these roles here. These are more competitive roles rather than ranked roles, but they still apply to your gameplay nonetheless, regardless of what environment you're in. As a hard support, you're typically someone that's opening up multiple entry points and preparing for what's called an execute, which is basically where all five of your teammates or whomever is alive left agrees on a certain take of the building. And when it comes down to it, you start throwing smokes, flashes, whatever, you're all ready for the outcome of the situation. Whether the plant goes down or doesn't go down, you can replace that person or you can post plant, get ready for a post plant. Um, for soft supports, you're more of the problem solving slash gathering of crucial information. So problem solving would be in the likes of you're getting bandit tricked, you're getting tuber out tricked, you're getting a guy that's with a C4 below before you go for the plant. You gather enough crucial information for you to come up with a problem solving solution. You go, okay, there's a guy below with a C4. What do we do about him? Do we go downstairs and combat him, or do we just simply plant on top of a table or some concrete and then we eliminate him as a whole factor? That's some of the that's some of the things as a soft support you want to consider. Hard supports are typically like Ace, Thermite, uh, the hard breachers. Every now and then Montan. Soft supports are more like your Thatcher, Cali, Maverick. Well, even though I know it says Maverick here for hard support, he's technically like a secondary, in my opinion. He's not like the main hard breacher. This is a little outdated, so don't mind any of the text down here. Your flex players are someone who supports the team by providing extra utility for those executes. Extra utility can look anything like going striker or recruit, for example, bringing an abundance of flashes and grenades. So if there's any adversity of deployable shields, a zombie barriers, you're kind of the guy that's going to make sure that that all gets cleared. Even pocket EMPs, even smokes for yourself. Your first and second entry, which I just call them entries. I don't know why. This is an old text, so don't mind it being called the first or second. There is no real first or second. You support the team by establishing map control. So as your supports are getting you in the building, which they should be, hopefully, they're you're paving the way for them to do their job much easier, if you will, rolling out a red carpet. So as a whole, the theory for attack is to follow under these structures, and you should see improvement in your gameplay. Unfortunately, you're only one person, so doing this without this can be difficult, or taking map control. Oh, okay. Taking map control, I didn't even press anything else but my mouse, okay. Taking map control without someone droning you in can be very difficult, but if everybody works in conjunction with one another, then you'll start seeing massive improvements in your gameplay. Um, for theory for defense, just to go over it really briefly, you support the team by providing throne slash place utility. So obviously Smoke, Tachanka, Bandit, people that have to actively be alive in order to get an impact out of your utility. If you die early as a bandit, can you replace the ones that got broken off the wall? If you die early as a smoke, can you stop the plant? You know what I'm saying? We can go on back and forth with all these type of operators, but that's essentially the main role of a hard support, at least for defense. Your soft support role is someone who intel gathers while simultaneously denying the intel of the enemy team. Mute, Mozzie, electrified barbed wire, or just simply being in the positions that most people pre-place their drones to shoot. That would be your task to do that. Intel gathering also means that you'd be the guy cycling through cameras on the fence to let your roamers know, hey, look, you're roaming on the wrong side of the building. They're over here. Can you rotate? That's your job. Flex supports the team by providing direct counters to the enemy. One example of which, they like to fast plant. Okay, go Warden, because they're typically going to bring smokes, flashes, all that type of stuff. Why not see through it? If they like to, I don't know, get the wall often, a direct counter to the wall would be one of the heart support roles, which is the extra bandit or an extra Cade or an extra, whatever the case may be. Because you're the flex, you quite literally bring whatever the team needs to maintain that control of direct countering them. Instead of them being like, oh, you banned our Ying? Oh, well, we got Grim, we got Glaz, we got all this. What are you going to do? You bring that to the table. As your first and second entries for defense, you support the team by maintaining map control. And now what that might look like is, where is it? Yes, here. What that might look like is in the form of a shallow roam, a light roam, or a deep roam. For the sake of not yapping too much, you guys can pause the video and just read this a little bit and understand what this might be. But just in case this isn't enough, um, a shallow roam is it's 1 to 2 rooms max from the objective. A light roam is somewhere not necessarily on the same floor. It doesn't have to be the same floor as the objective, but you're still relatively around to make something happen, like a C4 below or a cross angle for a window hop in, etc. A deep roam would mean you get so deep across the map that where the enemy team has to invest time into you to even consider you a threat. Because if they go and forget about you, then when it comes time for you to flank, you have the best opportunity to have their backs to you. But if they choose to invest in you early, you made them use so much time and utility to go clear you that by the time it's time to go back to site and actually do their job of getting the wall and then pushing site and planning, they don't have either time or utility to do that anymore. So you want to consider being one of these three during any round. Sometimes it fluctuates. You start off as a deep roam, you realize nobody's coming or there's nothing to do. You fall back more into a light roam, and then before you know it, you're shallow enough to be right next to site. That's the role of aggressive players slash entries on defense. For the support players, quite simple. Cameraman, relay information, demolition, reconstruct the map, make rotation holes, head holes, construction, be someone that could set up site like deploy with shields, the zombies, etc. Flex, we've already described this, but if you want to take a look at some of the examples, go ahead. A helper would be someone simply like Jaeger or Wamai to complement Warden's deployable shield in something like Oregon basement, like that little elbow area, if you guys are familiar. Wildcard means that all of the above hasn't been working, so you quite literally do anything it takes to throw them off. To quickly go over on attack, this is more of a competitive role, whereas these both are ranked roles, right? You clear a section of the building until your supports enter, then stand by until further notice. So basically, yeah, you're like on a leash in a way. You're only going up into a point in which we need you. You don't need to keep going. Even if you know someone's around the corner and you want to go kill them really badly, you just let them sit there at bay because they're not currently a problem to you. That's basically first and second on attack. You go ahead and read some of the notes here for yourself. If any of you have any questions or concerns as to more in-depth explanations to some of these, feel free to ask. I reply to every comment. Hard support and soft support on attack. You got someone who scouts, actively droning, an analyst, someone who already drone and know what's going on, and a spotter, someone who finds a gap within the enemy team's defense, and instead of doing all this other planning and stuff that you guys are doing, you just skip to this. And you go, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Flex on attack, pretty self-explanatory. They play Maestro, you play Brava. They play Valkyrie, you play IQ. They play Bandit, you play Cali. Arguably, some might say Maverick is better than this, but hey, they both get the job done, right? Um, the next thing I want you guys to consider, aside from these notes that are in front of you right now, and aside from this video that I was planning on showing, but I don't think I will, um, you got to learn to kind of outthink your opponent. All right. Mechanical skill is great, but game sense is what truly wins matches. Outthinking your opponent means predicting their next move before they even make it. So use things like sound cues, drone information, and timing to anticipate rotations on the enemy team's behalf. Because if you can do that, you quite literally are like checkmating them almost every single time of what they do or what they plan on doing. Think like you're an enemy. Think like you are the enemy. If you were them, where would you peek from? Where would you plant? And by understanding why they might want to do these things, you understand where you need to position yourself to counter these things. Don't just react and set traps and bait utility and force mistakes. What you want to do is work mental chess over the aim duels. It's cool to be the guy that's flashy and running around and tapping heads, but what happens when you're equivalent to your opposition? What happens when, let's say, Spoit goes against Spoit? Let's just say. I'm not gonna compare him to anybody else because I don't, people be like, oh, Scheichel's better than Spoit or Spoit's better than Scheichel. I was gonna say that at first, but let's just say it's a Spoit v Spoit, right? Equal. What do you do at that point? You know that both of you are capable of 50-50 gunfighting, but what if one of you is just 1% smarter in terms of outthinking what the next person was gonna do? And so because you know they're gonna be there anyways, you don't even need a pre-fire. You just need to be around the corner waiting for them to waste their time. Um, a secondary thing to remember, or is it secondary? Jesus, I haven't wrote a script for this, so forgive me. I'm just freeballing off the top of my dome here. Try being a better leader for your team. You don't need to necessarily be the IGL to lead. Let's make that clear. IGL stands for in-game leader, yes, but you're not the only person. They're not the only person on the team that has a say. Because we each get 2 drones, because we each have access to all the cameras around the building, we each at any point could step up and be like, hey, listen, this is what's going on, and this is what we can do. Or this is what we can prepare for they're going to do. Um, Leadership is about energy and clarity and accountability, right? So keeping comms calm and focused, especially when things go sideways, is kind of key because that leads people to not feel pressure to do things that they otherwise wouldn't have. So an example of like dying, an example would be you dying, getting on cameras. You got the right idea on pinging someone, whether it's yellow or red, and going, "Oh, he's right here." But you also have the choice to go, "He's right here, he's right here, he's right here, he's right here. Swing, swing, swing. He doesn't know, he doesn't know." Or you have the choice of going, hey, there's a guy right here swinging your yellow hallway. He's on the left side of the double door. Like, I could probably even make that shorter. Left side double door hallway, yellow ping. Or I got a guy on yellow ping right here. It's very calm. It's not too suggestive because you don't know like what's going on in your teammate's head in that moment for them to just want to drop everything they're doing then go do what you want what you're telling them to do. It might be very informational, it might be productive, but they might also have something going on. And that's something you have to consider when trying to be a good leader for your team or just trying to be a good player for your team. Great leaders don't just hype the team up, they guide them. So try to be the voice that brings order to the chaos, and you'll see some more better results from your teammates, regardless if they're randoms or if they're people you're trying to build with. Um, the next segment would be applying your voice, right? So your mic is a weapon. Try to use it wisely. Call out what matters, enemy positions, utility use, rotations being made. Try not to flood the comms with panic or tilt. Keep it short, clear, and actionable. If someone's quiet, check in on them. Sometimes a simple "you good" can bring someone back into the game. Your voice can tilt your team or turn the tide. Choose wisely. This is coming from me personally, a crash out, if you will. I get a little too invested and involved in the competitive side of this game that I kind of lose track of like that we're all human and we're all like people. So trying to be nice to each other is and calm is very important. All right. Now when it comes to bouncing back from a bad game, everybody has bad games, even pros. What separates winners is how they respond, right? Try not to don't spiral whenever like shit just goes bad for you. Try to take a breath, reset your mindset, and focus on the next round. You want to learn from it, ask what went wrong and what can I control the next time. So that way, when you run that simulation again, rather it's a fast plant, rather it's how you held the objective or your angle, you know you ran the simulations enough time to be like, oh, I've been here before. I know exactly what I got to do, right? Don't bring tilt into the next match. Leave the L in the past and bring the lessons forward. Because if you keep bringing the last energy into the next game and the last energy into the next game and the last energy in the next game, before you know it, you're just having a shitty ass day. Let alone session with the people that you're playing with, in which it could turn out to be that's the last session you ever have with those people, because it's like, why would I want to be why would I want to be around negative Nancy all the time when these people don't provide anything positive ever? You know what I'm saying? They're always complaining. There's never ever like a good job. There's never ever like a, we'll get them next time, or, try to be that guy that's like, we lost, but let's just consider how we lost and move forward on how we can make that better the next time. Resilience is truly a skill. By building it, you know, by building it through reps and reflection, you become not only a better player, but a better person in terms of how you handle other things aside from the pressures of a video game. So those are just things to consider. Um, I know the notes wasn't too in depth, it wasn't too thorough, which is why I'm asking for comments and replies to, maybe perhaps go over something more deeply that wasn't already shown here. I wanted to keep the video short because I know anything past, 20 minutes, people are going to be, what the hell is this? I'm not sitting through this. But that is kind of the point of the video. It's a yap session, but it's a productive yap session. It's something that I want to like bend your perspective with. I want you to consider these things when playing in your next match, rather it's ranked, rather it's a 1v1 with your homie, or rather it's the grand finals in a pro league tournament. All right? Like I said, leave some comments for me below. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. This was completely off the dome, no script. So, appreciate any feedback, guys. Have a good rest of your day.